Before you showed up, everything was great. I'm not gonna lie. This apocalypse has been too much fun.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Under Review, where we look at all the latest and greatest games to release from majority of all the consoles. Now, this has been a really busy week, and we finally got our hands on the Ubisoft Far Cry 5 expansion, that's what I'm calling it, in Far Cry New Dawn. Now, the world of Far Cry is transformed into a post-apocalyptic Mad Max world following the events of Far Cry 5. I have to say first that this game is more of a massive expansion to Far Cry 5, as there are a bunch of connections and callbacks to that original game. And if you've seen the ending to that game, you really know the setting that this game takes place in. As a matter of fact, it's a direct continuation, not just from the story, but honestly everything else. Now, I will not complain about that, but unfortunately, the same mechanics repeating itself over and over is going to leave many to quick fatigue. Now, Far Cry, I will say this is beautiful. Graphically, it is a lavish, lush environment. However, it is a small world than Far Cry 5 was. And it does not have as much going on in the world as Far Cry 5 did either. The formula is pretty much the exact same. Your main quests are outlined on the map for you, with the majority of your treasure hunts, outposts, and side missions are attained just by simply exploring. The emphasis for this game is on exploration. Now, the game does introduce damage numbers into the game for the first time. Enemies are now tiered as well as the guns, which does prevent you from going straight to the main boss from the very beginning. Whereas Far Cry 5 sets you up on the landing in the middle of the map and lets you kind of choose where you want it to go. You either go north, east, south, it didn't really matter. You got to choose where you wanted to go. And New Dawn, you were starting at New Hope in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, and almost begins on a somewhat linear path, even though you can still explore far out and just anywhere you really want to go. Just remember that the enemies you do run into are tiered depending on the territory you go into. 90% of the guns for Far Cry 5 are back, and even at the crafting table. Everything's pretty much the exact same as you remember it. The one notable early exception is the saw launcher, which fires off saw blades that can ricochet and hit multiple enemies at the same time, which is a very satisfying new addition. Now, the campaign can be played in co-op, much like previous versions, and the story does add on a bit from the original Far Cry 5. The only downfall is, even with the world being as bright as it is, feels kind of empty, and more of what we got from Far Cry 5. Now, overall, Far Cry New Dawn is a fun game to play. However, there is a lot of the same elements taken from Far Cry 5. So playing through this game, we felt like we played through this already. And it does not bring much of anything new to the table. The twins, the New Dawn's main villains, are actually a pretty cool addition and are entertaining to watch. But it's just not enough to save the expansion that was lacking in content. It truly feels like more of just an expansion, more of just the same. But the saving grace is actually in the price. And I think Ubisoft knew that this game was not like really a standalone Far Cry title, but more so just a expansion. And there's a reason it's not a complete standalone Far Cry title. So for that, we gave Far Cry New Dawn a kind of disappointing 6.5 out of 10. I don't know what we were really expecting going into it. I really wasn't expecting a whole lot. I kind of knew that this was going to be just an expansion, a continuation, a runoff from Far Cry 5. And I think some people were going into it with the expectation that this is a new Far Cry. It's really not. It's Far Cry 5 with a new palette. And we just really didn't get much of anything new or exciting with this one. It just felt more of the same. Like we've already experienced and played through this part. Like, especially like this map. We played through all this already. So thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, everybody, game on.